Okay, what up, much peace to everybody out there just doing the flowers with FAIRGROW on the Friday. Chilling out, everybody's doing good with that high grade, keeping that ganja gold, keeping that culture. But before I start, let me just acknowledge and recognize, give respect to the original and traditional custodians of all the land masses around the world, that being the indigenous people, past, present, and future, recognizing their traditions and culture, hopefully hoping to bring about a change to the stigma, broader awareness, and just promotion of their culture to bring some harmony to the people around all of us on this earth in this form that we are right now. All right, so yeah, just kicking it. Um, Hopefully, a few people will work through. Nothing really planned. Just gonna put some high grade, and you know what it is. I'll drop the link down. Good to see Marky and Baker, bro. Thanks for coming through. Well, there's no review today. That was just a bit of an edit. I should put it back. I'll put it tomorrow. But I got that crypto chronic, which is something that's probably worthwhile to give an opinion on and share with the audience. Definitely really sweet and gassy, really loud. I think the lineage is Fruity Pebbles and something or other else. So I do want to try that to get the see what a sweet turkey, maybe that cereal milk and all that jazz. That would be something too. I've never tried that. But oh shit, I'll put a thing on that's there, isn't it? Let me just pin the link to the chat. Appreciate everyone come through. But yeah, come up, have a chat, have a bong, have a joint, do whatever it is. Say your piece, just be respectful. Hopefully that you can hear me. Audio is coming through clear and visual is cool. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, it all seems clear. Alright. So the link is pinned to the chat. So for now, waiting for everybody to come through. I'll go just check out the latest, I guess, the YouTube thing on I guess I don't know if I can for now. I'll wait for everybody. I can do this. I'll do a bit of a cryptosia. Oops. Screen. Okay, so waiting for a few people to come through. If they come through, all good. If not, but for now, we'll just have a look at this nice flower strain called Crypto Chronic. Luckily, I've been able to come across it. It's the first time I've ever seen it ever, and I'm very happy and impressed with it. We'll just see what. First, we'll go with these little things here. What strain is Crypto Chronic? Crypto Chronic is a super potent indica strain that hits up to 30%. This strain was created by crossing Fruity Pebbles OG, Alien Cookies, and Jet Fuel Gelato. So really nice, flavoursome strains, all something to my preference anyway. This the sweet and the gas coming from, I guess, the Fruity Pebbles and the Jet Fuel. Is Crypto Chronic a sativa? Is perfect balance of sativa and indica. The THC ratio of the hybrid is relatively high and demonstrates 70 to 21. The CBD content is lab tested at a mere 0.69 to 0.09%. So not too high on that. It's obviously just strong hitting THC to flavour. We'll get some pictures up. And kind of with the pictures that I did see was similar to, I'll pick up a nug in a second, I'll show you. See right here, Cryptochronic is a hybrid marijuana strain from the breeder Compound Genetics, crosses of Fruity Pebbles, Alien Cookies, and then jet fuel. So I guess there's a double cross there. Cryptochronic marijuana has a fruity, berry, sweet, creamy fuel funk and a complex bitter-sweet taste. Leafly breeders have also reported coffee, plum, and even tobacco notes. Expect super high THC effects for advanced users who might get energetic, happy, and relaxed all at once. Some patients turn to cryptochronic cannabis to manage anxiety, pain, or depression. So, kind of definitely agreeing with that. The energetic, happy, relaxed kind of boom feeling, and also the berry taste with the fuel funk. It's a kind of sweet gas, loud, nice, very nice. It's just in a preference to, say, an earthy or a piney terp. And that's just definitely my preference. I prefer it to be sweet, fruity, or something like that. Makes it a bit more enjoyable. Keep going down here. Strain effects: happy, euphoric, relaxed. Negatives might make you anxious, dry eyes, and a dry mouth. It helps 38% of people with anxiety, 17% with depression, 17% with pain. Those people who took this, survey, or filled in the what do you call this? Yeah, they just describe their experience. So the strain flavors being coffee, berry, and apple. Yeah, I'm not sure about the coffee. I'd agree with the berryness, I guess. Yeah, that's about it. It's not available on the Australian medical program. There are some new ones on there actually that obviously people talking about. I haven't checked it in a while due to that fact this has been satisfactory. Go for some images here. Boom. Real nice, dense, fat calyx. It's light green. I did a close-up on the channel. There's a cannabis close-up of a short if you want to have a look at it, but it's just got dense, super fat trichotomies all over it. Really nice close-up picture, and just really nicely flowered. The buds that I got probably they're not huge. The biggest would might be 1 point something grams, like nothing over 2 grams is one nugget. But definitely all pretty happy. But when I looked at these, it looked really similar, exactly the same. Yeah, I think it's this one too, Cryptochronic number 2. So there is obviously I think there's 2, and then there's one from Sugar Bud, and another one from Alien Labs, and this is the number 1 from Fig Farms. Didn't really have that. The pistils being orange, that's what I'm kind of thinking. It's not the case. Oh, the smell is really nice. So I don't have too much left at the moment. I have to go and get some. I only got like a couple of grams or so to get me through tonight. Oh shit! That's all good. Be interesting to see if anybody's tried the Fruity Pebbles. What's their opinion on that? But either way. Oh, U.S.A is up here, bro. Sorry, dude. Didn't see it there.
I was just about to go back and call it too. How you going, bro?
Good, brother. Good to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, good,
It's
bro.
been a while. Good.
Yeah, I haven't got no
Blazing.
running streams for a while.
Yeah,
Chilling.
I haven't uploaded anything in a while.
Oh, true.
It's good though. Yeah, I'll get back to it though. But what are you blazing at the moment? Anything fancy?
Sorry,
What are you
what was that?
blazing up?
Back over. I've been off it
Oh,
for over a
really?
week now.
Oh, right. I didn't hear you say before. Cool. How you feeling?
No different. I think I'm smoking too much tobacco. It's making me feel just as bad type of thing. I think I was better on the pot.
Well,
But
you
paying
kind of
for
took a break
another
because
2 weeks.
it 1 month you
Sorry?
want to take off. But you said like you took it
Yeah.
off because you were feeling anxious, or why'd you give it a?
Nah, I'm going for another job. I just want to pick clean
Okay.
for it. So I've still got another little course to do and yeah,
Yep.
do the test and I'll be sweet.
That's cool, bro. It's a bit of a. I don't think I could do anything like that. I mean, I do think about it
I
and
didn't think
cutting
I could
down and
either,
stopping, but
but I know anyone could really if I can do it.
yeah,
I just stopped that night and I just thought, nah, I'll just. But yeah, I've got reasons. So
yeah.
you got no
How
reason.
did you How did you feel like on the first night's sleep? Was it all right? And then waking up on the second day, be any sort
Yeah,
of
no, it was pretty similar. So I was, when I wake up, it pretty much feel stoned. When I go, by the time I'm going to bed, I'm pretty much feeling stoned, and for some reason, I don't know why. But it was only like the last 2 3 days was the hardest, I think. Or the last 2 days,
true?
sort of like
Yeah,
a
right.
ritual or something,
Yeah, fuck
and it's
man,
like
all the
hard to
best.
control your emotions or stuff like that.
Yep. And you just hit the tobacco, obviously a little bit more, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
When you feel like a smoke,
Been
you
for-
just have a cigarette.
this is my second packet of 15 grams. So
Shit.
been
Well,
for getting going for it.
so it's all get the job and then fucking be sweet.
Yeah, I can't wait. So I can get the smoke back up. But yeah, I don't know. It's not really that different. Still find things to do and bit
Yep.
strange but for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
I suppose you come home and have a drink if you want to calm down, because
Yeah, yeah.
you,
I've
yeah,
had like 2 drinks, just like one or
yeah,
two, like separate days.
yeah.
Nothing
Try and
drunk or
cut it
anything.
out
Just
completely though. Like,
yeah, if I can, I will. But I'm still thinking of getting back on it. Still want to get back on it. So,
oh,
but
okay,
I've
yeah,
been around people smoking it and stuff, and I can sit there with them and not smoke it. Like pretty cool. I never thought I could
yep,
do that.
yep. No, that's the way. It's a good sign when you can like be in that environment and still cope.
Yeah, I still got the boggle and stuff here. Like just don't even
Yeah.
look for it.
Um,
I will want to get this do what I need to do and stuff.
so the job's in your town, or you have to travel.
I yeah, pretty much just a bit out, half an hour,
Mm.
bit closer to the next town, but get paid for travel. So
Okay, so it's well worth it. Nice one, bro. It's good to hear. Everything's all good with your little one, bro. I hope so. You don't have to answer that, but just thinking about that.
yeah, my littlest one's up in hospital right now, but I was meant to go up there, but she partnered this, so I just stay there tonight. So I just got a night off.
Yeah.
But she's getting better and
Yeah.
improving. She might
Okay.
get out more.
That's good.
But yeah, I got the other three with me, so
Oh yeah. They well behaved.
oh yeah,
They
when they want to.
will. That's a
Yeah, they're
good
pretty
thing,
good.
man. Yeah. Children, they want to do what they. Let's let them be, man.
What I thought, man, I'm got a bit brighter. But yeah, I don't feel much different. Like anyone can really do it. Give it up. Not recommending it, but they smoke a cigarette too much. Got to
Yeah,
try to give that
balance
up.
with everything. You know, obviously, man. You don't want to go all out in anything. You know, you like. I don't have. You know, this is just, I guess, my opinion, but because I haven't really,
Sorry about that.
what's the word, built the strongest foundation and shit. But you know, our experience all comes from ourselves. It's up to us.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked out. Made off for over a week and still not thinking of it. Like, I'm thinking of it, but someone could sit smoking right next to me and I wouldn't even bother.
Have you been eating more or something like that?
I
Cool.
thought I'd be eating a lot more, but I'm not really eating as much as I
Mm.
thought. But I am eating more, obviously. More time for eating.
Yeah.
A lot of cleaning, a lot of bit of everything. I
I guess
watch
your
some movies a
headspace
lot now
becomes
on
clearer.
Netflix a lot.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. I'm watching The 100. Have you ever seen that on Netflix?
Not yet. The 100. What's
Yeah.
that about?
That, something like Earth was inhabitable, so they went up to space, and
Yeah.
now they're coming back. Type thing. Pretty cool.
There's 100 of them.
Oh, they sent 100 down, and they thought they was all going to die, and they found out they're still alive a few years later.
Oh,
So,
cool.
so they're all heading back. Sent out like 100 of the people who wasn't worthy, like doing crimes and that up on the space station. Pretty
Oh,
cool. But yeah, I couldn't sit and watch a movie before for some reason. Now I can.
oh, right. Okay. Cool. That's the thing to do, mate. Have a few billies and just kick back and watch a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I get into it, I'll jump up and have a few more and then don't bother playing it again. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm on season 2 now, so doing pretty good. Pretty happy. Not feeling much better.
You're not feeling better.
Nah, I think it's all smokes, all this too much tobacco.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Baden, bro. Yeah, Baden's watched it.
30 grams in a week. It's like, and what would you have been smoking
Um,
prior? Like when you were smoking ganja, how much tobacco would you go through?
nowhere near that. Just for this spin, that's it. I'd have
Wow.
one or two at work.
Mm,
So like,
wow. So the pouch would last like a
a limit
fortnight,
there,
maybe.
a week.
Yeah.
So
The pouch would last a fortnight, 2 weeks, maybe.
yeah, that would last me a month if it was just me.
Oh,
But now
okay.
I
So you
won't. It
partners.
lasts for 3 days.
Sweet.
I thought I'd
What's your
just
couch?
finish one and feel like another one, but I know I won't be doing that.
What's that? You want to have another one just after finishing it?
Yeah,
Fuck.
something else going on. Yeah, that's why I'd rather just smoke pot.
Yeah, mate.
Some nice looking buds there, though.
Yeah, man. This is this flower I can get at the moment. Like the fella's got. It's called cryptochronic. It's like fucking yummy. Yeah.
That sounds crazy. I was just watching Snoop Dogg earlier. He's coming out with a new strain too, I think. Something like that. I forget what it was called.
Oh, true. I remember something like this actually when I was in high school. There was this thing, really not called. It's called Red Devil. Oh, kind of strange actually. Fuck. Yeah, it kind of looked like this. It definitely was what it was supposed to. I didn't think, from memory, it was nice, but just not
Look
as
at that
terpy.
in the middle,
Which one?
just under, just under the big picture
Oh
you got
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
Ooh, it's frosty.
yeah. I can't wait to start smoking again. I still got buds in that ear. I was just like, not even bothered. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. See what it smokes
Pretty.
like.
But yeah, I'm only gonna jump up for a bit. I gotta go and dish this
That's cool, man.
stuff out.
Appreciate it. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, no, good to see you, but
Yep.
cheers everyone in
All the
chat.
best.
Got a good one. I'll be listening anyway.
Yep.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro. Peace, man. So this one here, um, Red Devil, marijuana strain 4.6 out of 5, strain information hybrid 50-50. So a, what would you call that? Evenly split hybrid. Or perfect, but it's a balanced hybrid, that's right. So evenly balanced. Red Devil is an evenly balanced hybrid strain, 50-50, created through crossing the potent Afghani cross Afghani skunk, the winner of the Toronto Cannabis Cup in 2009. This bud was bred with the purpose of creating a hybrid with an indica lean that hits just like a sativa. Given the effects, we have to say the breeders definitely succeeded. Red Devil packs a strong immediate high that hits hard in the head before spreading throughout the rest of the body with unmatched potency. You'll feel a high flying and unfocused euphoria that your mind fading in and out of hazy bliss. At the same time, a super relaxing and tingly body buzz will hit your physical form, leaving you kicked back, couch locked, and pretty aroused. These heavy effects and its insanely high 29% average THC level gives Red Devil an edge in treating chronic pain, cramps, or muscle spasms, inflammation, chronic fatigue, and chronic stress. Red Devil has a spicy, chocolatey grape flavor, almost like a mulled wine. The aroma is very similar, although with hints of woody, pine, and pungent skunk to it, too. Red Devil buds have grape-shaped minty green nugs with a thick red-orange hairs and a coating of frosty, tiny, minty white crystal chocolate. Agreed. Um, I don't think I've seen it too much. Like the first time I saw it, would have been definitely. It was like we were really young, not young. We were just starting in our teens, like 14, 15, no 14 actually, because fuck yeah, the fella that actually was there, man, awesome fella, bro. Rest in peace, Omar. He actually passed away at 14, bro. Somebody like he got hit by a car. He was riding a bicycle. There was like three of them there, they were just going to their mate's place to fix the bicycle. It's crazy. And it was this spot where is at the bottom of the hill, and people were just known for speeding down there. Some lady, I wasn't there, fortunately, or when one of my brothers was there, he saw it. It wasn't very pretty. He said, fucking sucks, bro. He's such a cool dude. But anyway, definitely never forget that fella. And so young too, but he was like such an outgoing, had so much. Anyway, so his bigger brother was pretty much, well known for doing things around the place and stuff. So he just got it through him one day. He's like, check this out, fucking Red Devil. And you could tell it was, looking back at it, it's like a well done indoor grow with these specific genetics. They would have, at the time, this would have been late 90s. So it would have been hard to get these exotic genetics and shit. So I would have got them somehow through the traps or whatever, and or the what do you call it, through the woodwork or the netting, and did it up, but probably not as pristine as it could have been. The structure was awesome. It was all there, fat calyxes, nice hairs, trikes were there. It probably just wasn't cured. The taste was there, the strength was there, but it was probably, and I can still remember it. This is from nearly 20 years later. I guess because it was something special that I never really saw again. I think I may have seen it, like, again, some people saying, oh, this is Red Devil, but it didn't look anything like what this one did. This one was so well structured. Other ones probably had a lot of kind of even PGR looking, just like full of red hairs and tiny bits of green with not fat calyx development, whereas this initial one was really pristinely done. Just probably wasn't cured to bring that full flavour. But anyway, it's just my little opinion. Fucking cheers, everybody. Where are we at? Shout out everyone. So we've got Baker coming through straight up. Marky, much appreciation. Vin, Critter, White Ashes, King B, RC Custom, Zaya, Baden, Moser, Gammons, Jeff, Jared, Jaguar, Bro, S.A. Lemons, Brooksy, Fratelli, Daryl's. Good to see you, Daryl. Don't think we've seen you before, bro. What are you on about? Yeah, it's okay. Oh, here we go. He's this guy trying to fucking play a game or something. Anyway. You don't really have time for fucking foolish people with nonsense topics. We'll bring up a some sort of video. I haven't seen this one. If you're there, might bring another one. Anyway, so this is what inside WA's top secret medical cannabis facility.
It's now been nearly 3 years since medicinal cannabis was legalised in Australia. But to date, there is just one company that grows and manufactures the product in Australia and actually sells it through pharmacies. For the first time, the manufacturer has allowed our cameras inside their secret operation. And joining
Oh,
us
this
now
must
for
be
the details
LG.
is Little Green Pharma Managing Director Fleta Solomon and the company's medical advisor, Dr. Joe Kosterich. Good morning. Welcome to you both. Fleta, first off, if you could just tell us a little bit about your business. It's obviously a hydroponic facility, obviously very tightly controlled. Tell us a bit more about it and what medicines you make it into.
Yes, it is a tightly controlled operation. We have a cultivation facility south of Perth. Every 12 weeks or so, we take cuttings from carefully selected mother plants. We propagate these to seedlings, transfer them to a grow room, where later the lights are changed to induce flowering. This produces a resin or an oil on the flower, which we then harvest. And once we harvest the plants, we dry the flower, we send it to our manufacturing facility where it's made into a final preparation of various grades of medical cannabis oil.
And Joe, who generally would that oil be prescribed to?
Yeah, Georgie, what we've done in Australia follows what's happened overseas, and its main uses are for chronic pain, and that could be arthritic, it could be nerve pain, also used in cancer pain, in cancer nausea, people who've got on chemotherapy and have vomiting and nausea, also in some instances in forms of epilepsy, particularly childhood epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, PTSD. There's a fairly long list of conditions, but a key point is that it's not what we call a first-line treatment. So it's generally when other treatments have failed or may have caused unacceptable side effects.
And we're increasingly hearing how effective it is. My question to you is, in your professional opinion, how safe is it? Are there any side effects?
There's not a medication on the planet that doesn't potentially have side effects. But what we do know is in America, there are 70,000 deaths every year from opiates. In Australia, it's not as bad. We've got our own mini opiate crisis. And we also have deaths from other medications. It's virtually impossible to kill yourself with medicinal cannabis. So it is a safe product. Some people may get nausea as a side effect. Some people may feel a little bit groggy. And like all medications, it may not be suitable for all people. But compared to some other medications that are widely prescribed, certainly a lot safer.
Fleta, so many people have been screaming out for this, and after a very slow start, the federal government has now approved more than 12,000 applications. Huge demand. We know obviously now it is legal, but we're always hearing that it's very hard to access.
Yeah, you're right. And the last month alone, the federal government approved over 2,000 applications. So it's really growing exponentially. Thank goodness that the federal government did streamline the access process. So it is much easier for our patients to access medical cannabis in Australia now. However, with anything, there's always room for improvement.
And cannabis medicines can also be, as I understand it, expensive and therefore prohibitive for some. What is the cost, and is it likely to become more affordable, Fleta?
Look, absolutely. And government regulations prohibit me from speaking about the cost directly to the public. There's a lot of red tape in this industry. However, what I can say is that up until a year ago, our Australian patients were limited to imported products, and these can be really expensive. So now our Australian patients have a choice as to where their medication comes from. And what I can say is that Little Green Pharma aims to have the most affordable cannabis medicines on the Australian market.
And Joe, have you seen first?
Wait. Let me just stop that there. So she can say that they aim to have the most affordable product on the market due to the fact that she's upset with people getting products from overseas, which can be extremely expensive. But just like straight away, my instinctive thought is basically, the price of the LGP Desert Flame is actually nowhere near the cheapest product on the market, and it probably is nowhere near the most potent or not that it's about potency at all, but it's probably not one of the most preferred flowers on there. It's just interesting to hear her saying that, because and it would be good because the whole point of what she just said, that it's Australian grown. She's trying to put products out there which are going to be completely beneficial and accessible to patients here, and it would be great if there were more kind of, I guess, what's the word? more action taken towards that point and pushing the price point below, say, Kind Medical or even the Cannatrek discounted prices. Because basically, we're talking a good 30% more for the price point of this an LGP compared to the Kind, and and my actual comparison of I never tried the full what do you call it, the kind of fresh flower. I tried the discounted price, which is something I'm very appreciative of too, because not many other companies on the market have done that, gone to discount the product which is close to expiry. I had a problem with the Canatrek where basically I was opening up an expired packet and they didn't have any issue with it. They were fine that I received it before that date, and that's the end of the situation. So, and like paying full price. So anyway, it's just a little bit. I guess it's business, and that's what it is. What it is, just the sincerity of it all. She's trying to push her thing, but if they were really sincere about it, it'd be good to see if the LGP would be lower than, say, Kind or Cantric. But we'll get back to the video. It was, yeah.
Firsthand, people really benefiting from this?
Well, absolutely. And in fact, one of the reasons that it became legalised some years ago was because of pressure from patient advocacy groups. So some of the mothers with children with intractable epilepsy, where they've used, lots of prescription medications, there hasn't been a response, where they've given them a cannabis oil and their fitting reduces significantly, they become very passionate about it. People, there's a gentleman in Perth who does a lot of talks. He has multiple sclerosis and will stand up and say, he no longer uses his walking stick. Now, will everybody get the same effect? No, not, as with any medication. But for those who have had pain, those who've had bad symptoms in nausea, the results can be, for those people and for others, really quite dramatic, yes.
All right, Joe Fleeter, we are out of time, but thank you very much. Really interesting information. We'll make sure we have more details on our website. Thank you both for your time this morning.
Hi YouTubers, I'm Davina Smith. Well, click here to keep watching Great 9 videos and subscribe to our channel here for lots more news, analysis and exclusive content. For breaking news, see you at 9news.com.au.
Yes, I guess I hadn't seen that before. But yeah, it's probably 3 years old there. Was it? Photos? Good to see you, bro. Coming through. Just flipping through some stuff, not really planning anything here. Just trying to find something new that I haven't seen, but that's not really there at the moment. There we go. What's this one?
Myrna Stewart has the spring back in her step.
Brilliant. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? This is what we want to see. Actual, beautiful. This is somebody of age, probably experienced a little bit of slowdown in their life, and now she's fucking feeling happy and replenished and active again, man. To a degree, which is great.
The 85-year-old knows the trauma of chronic pain. Diagnosed with arthritis at 8, she spent her life searching for treatments.
It was just really bad pain, too bad to go on putting up with without doing something about it.
She consulted her GP and started a course of medicinal cannabis. 2 days later,
got out of bed and I said to John, that awful pain in my chest and back's gone. He said, it can't be.
It hasn't returned. She's one of thousands of Australians seeing miraculous results. The Can I Help clinic in 17 Mile Rocks is bringing down the cost.
One of the big issues we have with medicinal cannabis products is they're not subsidised on the PBS, so the cost of medication can really be quite high.
They started Australia's only compassionate access program. Patients are assessed for a 15, 30 or 50% subsidy. In the last 12 months, 2,000 patients saved a total of more than $1 million.
It really is a booming industry. Southeast Queensland really is leading the charge.
This is inside Medcan's Brisbane facility, and they're still growing. Larger rooms are under construction.
Looking at harvest of around 150 kilos every 8 weeks.
To give more Queenslanders a new lease on life. Kendall Gilding, 7 News.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Let's see what else is here. Check these ones out 2 years ago. So on the Australia Trends in Cannabis Use and Attitudes Towards Legislation from the Matilda Centre.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the CREMS webinar series. It's fantastic to have you with us here this morning, and you may have seen some of our upcoming webinars as you were waiting to view the session today, and I'd really encourage you to check those out and go and sign up for those on other interesting topics around comorbid mental health and substance use. And those are all available, as well as the recording for today's webinar and the research in how to more effectively hand over to Wendy now, and we'll also have an opportunity to ask Wendy questions at the end of the webinar.
And two colleagues from Columbia University in the USA, Ava Hamilton and Kerry General, what do Australian population surveys show? Is it that Australians increasingly favour cannabis legalisation? Do they show that most people believe that cannabis should remain illegal, or most people have no opinion? Again, you'll see the poll on your screen.
So I think most people have voted now, and we've got 85% of people voting A, increasing favour of cannabis legalisation, with 15% of people voting B, believe cannabis should remain legal.
Okay, and A is correct, so I don't really need to give my talk now. I might go. No, that's correct. And again, we'll be talking about those issues in the talk. So that was just 2 quick little questions, and I shall start my talk in earnest now. The slide that's up now is just showing some of the data from the latest National Drug Strategy Household Survey, which is the population survey run every 3 years by the Australian government on all drugs Australians use. And these are the 2016 data, which are not available to analyse yet, but they've put out the initial reports, looking at last year illicit drug use and trends since the 2001 survey. And you can see in the top right graph, the proportion of Australians who use methamphetamine has fallen, the proportion who use cocaine have risen, but cannabis still remains up the top there in that green line. There was a dip from 2001 to 2007, and there's been a sort of gradual increase again up to the current survey. If you look at the bottom left graph, the last year use by age, this goes to my first question. If you look at the marijuana or cannabis graphic in the top left corner, you can see that the bars represent years of the survey, with the top bar 2001, the bottom bars 2016. There's actually been an increase in use amongst older age groups, with the yellowish and white bars down the bottom and the 40 to 49-year-old age group becoming longer, whereas amongst the younger age groups, 14 to 19, you can see that there's been a decrease largely in use as surveys have become more recent.
I'll obviously let this continue, and it's interesting because I haven't seen this before, but just a thought here that the dates, this is what, 2 years old, the video, but the dates on the graph are from 2001 to 2016, talking about the illicit drug use. We'll see where she goes, but it's just interesting because I'd probably be more interested in the illicit cannabis use from 2016 to now, being that the medicinal legislation came in 2016. So, any information prior to that is kind of irrelevant because it would have all been illegal or decriminalised state or situation. But anyway, go with it. Listen to what she says. It's probably pretty interesting.
Recent. So cannabis use did peak worldwide in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and then it declined, but it does appear to be on the increase again since then internationally. Australia has traditionally been one of the highest using nations, and cannabis has remained the most commonly used illicit drug in Australia. So as you can see, use is on the increase amongst older Australians. If you just have a quick look at this recent use graph, it just provides a bit more of an outline of that. This again, 2016 data. Along with methamphetamine, cannabis is the drug that's most used most frequently, that is at least weekly. So 36% of recent cannabis users use weekly or more often, and that was the same with methamphetamine. But there have been some trends. So there's been an increase in the age of initiation So people are starting it later. There's been an increase in the average age of users. So people are on average older when they're using these days. There's been a decrease in the number of younger users and an increase in the number of older users, especially males. And use among males aged 40 to 59 and people over 60 is now at its highest in 15 years, which raises the question, are we seeing the effects of increased use because of an ageing cohort? And again, these issues will come up again. Again, this raises the question, has cannabis gone off the Australian agenda? So as recently pointed out, cannabis is still the most commonly used and frequently used illicit drug in Australia, and along with methamphetamine. And in terms of treatment, cannabis is the drug for which people most commonly seek illicit drug treatment, along with methamphetamine. So approximately 23% of people who sought treatment were seeking treatment for cannabis or methamphetamine in 2015-2016. But there's been an increasing media policy focus on other drugs, so it's gone off the.
Stop that for a second, because it's kind of like, it's interesting, like to me, how she's just put methamphetamine and cannabis so blatantly in a kind of comparative position or perspective, saying, cannabis is still the most frequently illicit drug used, but then along with methamphetamine also, yes, and the rehabilitation, because they're completely different substances, and toxicity levels are just not comparable. Even the kind of the formulation to manufacture the product, methamphetamine's completely chemical with lots of stages of plenty of toxic substances, to produce what it is, whereas cannabis is a natural seeded plant. Interesting that they're on scheduled categories, I guess, in legislation together, but obviously they're not in the same ballpark at all. What's up to P2P, bro? How you doing? Chilling. Good to see you. The link is pinned if you want to come up. I'm just playing some stuff at the moment. I'll probably drive around for a little longer. But it's interesting to hear what she's got to say, but just continue on.
The agenda in Australia a bit. There's been concerns over issues such as ice, pharmaceutical opioids, and novel psychoactive substances. There's been an increase in the popularity and media coverage of other drugs. And in the recent National Drug Strategy household surveys, people's perceptions of methamphetamine has changed considerably, such that people now consider it to be of more concern than any other drug, including alcohol. And a greater number have thought of it as the drug that's caused the most deaths in Australia. For the first time, methamphetamine was a drug most likely to be nominated as a drug problem. So there's been a bit of a shift in the way people perceive drug use. In terms of cannabis policy in Australia, cannabis has remained illegal in Australia for forever, really. Now, laws have varied in various states according to the jurisdiction. So we've had various states, for instance, South Australia, very early on introduced some form of decriminalisation and civil penalties. And depending which state you live in, there may be some form of diversion from the criminal justice system into the drug courts or into cautioning. There'll be discretion given to police as to how they deal with offences for minor offences. So there is some movement in that. But overall, in Australia, cannabis has always been illegal, and it currently is illegal. There has also been little attention to medical cannabis in Australia, despite some movement in New South Wales in about 2007. It never ever happened. So it's been some compassionate and prescribed access to cannabis, but it's been very difficult. There's been very, very, very little attention given to cannabis research on medical cannabis in Australia, and there's been a lot of barriers. I published the first potency results for Australian cannabis a few years ago, but it took me 10 years to get that study off the ground, largely because the laws in Australia made it virtually impossible to access cannabis for research purposes. So it's been very much a sort of static policy situation in Australia. But what has happened in 2016 is a new law was passed in Australia. So the Federal Parliament passed landmark legislation called the Narcotic Drugs Amendment Act, which became effective on the 30th of October and now allows the controlled cultivation of cannabis in Australia for medicinal and related scientific purposes via a national licensing scheme. So it has a detailed regulatory framework which enables applications for licenses and permits for the cultivation, production and manufacture of medicinal cannabis products. So that's an extremely new situation in Australia and something we watch with interest. In terms of Australian attitudes towards legal status, we touched on this at the beginning with the question. There have been a few surveys now that are showing that there does seem to be some sort of softening of attitudes toward legal status in Australia. So Roy Morgan have run a series of polls over the years of Australians, and they have found since 2004 that there has been an increase in those who believe cannabis should be legalised, particularly amongst the young and the old. The Australian National University have run a periodic election study where they look at a variety of issues around politics and social issues. And between 2007 and 2016, there was a sharp decrease in the proportion of their respondents who believed cannabis use should be a criminal offence. Marion Shanahan, who's a health economist here at NDARC, did, as part of her doctorate, looked at people's attitudes towards cannabis use policies. And they found when people were forced to make a discrete choice experiment where they were asked to make different choices about cannabis options for policy, they found there was a strong preference for civil penalties and a strong dislike of an increase in the criminalisation of cannabis. And it was linked to people's beliefs about the benefits that cannabis might be able to confer on people. These are the latest data on attitudes too from the National Drug Strategy Household Survey. So there has been a market increase in support for cannabis from 26% believing legalisation should be an option in 2013 to 35% in 2016. You can see down the left there's been a general increase in the more liberal policies for cannabis use. And people increasingly want civil penalties for cannabis use. Just a slide here. This is not the best slide in the world, and you cannot find a slide that agrees with any other slide. If you try and get a slide of cannabis policy internationally, every slide's different, and even the Australian one's not completely accurate. But what I just wanted to show you was that around the world there has been a lot of movement in cannabis policy, apart from in Australia, with, for instance, the United States. Obviously, each state in the United States have increasingly adopted medical marijuana programs. There's been a lot of movement there. Canada's about to legalise recreational use. There's been increased movement in South America and in various parts of Europe towards the legalisation of or decriminalisation of various aspects of cannabis use. There's been a massive increase in medical cannabis programs and the use of pharmaceutical cannabis around the world, and a lot of money invested in medical research looking at the medicinal effects of cannabis. And Australia's been largely excluded from that movement, and there's been a lot of policy stasis until quite recently, until last year's policy decision. There's been a bit of concern too expressed about what happens when policies are changed. So what is the relationship between policies, attitudes and use? So does an increase, for instance, in the number of American states who have medical cannabis mean that there's going to be an increase in just your recreational use? Or are people's attitudes going to change? Is it going to increase people's belief about how harmful it is? Is it going to result in an increase in use that we need to be concerned about? And basically there's been a lot of study, but the results have been very different, depending on, there've been lots of different methodologies and outcomes measured, and that there are mixed results and impacts on people's views of how harmful cannabis is and use. The policy think tank in the United States, RAND, did a review looking at the links between US medical cannabis laws and use, and they found that in fact there was a link between the introduction of medical cannabis laws in the United States and increased adult use, but not youth use. Catherine Keyes, who's collaborating with us on this study, found that despite overall decreases in perceived harmfulness, medical marijuana laws resulted in increased levels of perceived harmfulness in young. So what does that mean? Oh, okay, despite.
Stop it there for another second. Just, little bit, what's the word? Just reacting to thought, I guess, like the fact that I'm wondering if these people who are presenting, because I'm looking at this PowerPoint presentation, very kind of scholarly, academic format, that, you got to put these certain points and then talk on them and enhance on them. And it's just interesting to, they're talking about the harmfulness over benefits of cannabis, and I'm wondering if these people, even if they advocate or go against legislation change, do they consume, or have they ever consumed, and how often is their consumption? Because I think, it does hold it will definitely hold a lot of weight for somebody's experience, personal experience, to put points towards that topic. So just on, it was as similarly to the comparing other narcotics such as methamphetamine so easily to this cannabis, putting it in the category of illicit drug. So it just, like, because we all evidently, there's blatant evidence of cannabis being beneficial, not so harmful in the sense that it could kill you or do organ damage. So the points of it being harmful, I'm wondering what what they are. You know, they're talking about the fact that you're putting in smoke, or you might become a little bit what's the word? Kind of not productive if you are to do, you know, consistent daily use. Because I definitely probably could understand that if you're having liquor all day every day, you wouldn't be as motivated to go on to, you know, do things as if you were not. But it's different for each and every person, I guess. But it's just that it's an interesting fact for them, for people who haven't had any kind of experience with any of these substances, to be so heavily, like, have their words so heavily, like, weighted, because what they're saying is going to put forward change to these legislations, to these laws, which are probably not really looked at to benefit the people, and it's, you know, corporate interest, which is going, the reasons for the words that they say and positioning how they want to word the laws and implement them. Not all of them, but I'm sure there is a very heavy weight of that, due to like lobbying and stuff like that. You know, people investing into certain corporations, or, like, you know, certain what are they called, organizations and things like that. These spokespeople, you know, because it's you know, I don't, to me, it's like common sense, and just like blatantly evident that cannabis is not harmful. It can, you know, balancing up, weighing it up to its benefits, you know. But let's just forget it. I might drag that on a bit. We'll continue to see what she's got to say.
Despite overall decreases in perceived harmfulness across the whole population, medical marijuana, MML, resulted in increased levels of perceived harmfulness in young adolescents, who then decreased their use. There have been other studies that have looked at this and found that there are basically across the board decreasing perceptions of the dangers of cannabis. Among adolescent birth cohorts internationally, low disapproval has been linked to higher risk of adolescent use. And Bo Kilmer, who also works at RAND, has found that the increase in support for the legalisation of cannabis has been in lockstep with the support for same-sex marriage in the United States, and that there's been a general, what's called a period effect or a historic effect, showing that there's broad changes happening in the United States in regard to a whole lot of attitudes. So it's a very complicated situation with no single answer. When we're trying to sort of untangle these trends and understand what they mean, we need to try and disentangle what might be going on, because these trends can be affected by a variety of issues. And the three main issues they can be affected by are people's age. So that is, an effect that is present can differ over people's life course. So for instance, we typically understand that cannabis use peaks in young adulthood and decreases as people age. And that's the same with most drug use, that drug use does differ over the life course depending on what stage of your life you're in. Drug use can also differ according to an historical period. So there could be something happening in the period. For instance, a policy could be implemented. There could be massive periods of social change that mean that drives changes across the entire population, regardless of your age or what birth cohort you were born in. And the third trend, of course, can be because of cohort changes. That is, an effect can differ according to when you were born. So for instance, people born in a particular point of time have more in common with other people born at that time, and they can show changes that differ according to different birth cohorts. So one of the well-known ones is the baby boomer group, for instance, in which drug use really boomed in the late 1960s, because that's when a lot of illicit drug use was introduced into that cohort. So they tend to have different patterns according to different birth cohorts. Before I go on to looking at age period cohort analysis in more detail, I just wanted to also raise the question of a different trend, which is a gender gap trend, which we're tending to be seeing in rates of drug use, where people who were born in the early 20th century tend to be much more different if you're a male or a female than those who were born in the late 1900s. So that the initial gender gap, where we typically think that drug use rates are higher in men, has seemed to be on the decrease in more recent birth cohorts. Now, Tim Slade, Kath Chapman and I have written 2 papers now on these trends in both alcohol and cannabis use, using big combined samples from international studies that have looked at rates of alcohol and cannabis prevalence over time. Now, the data that I've got up here are from the alcohol paper, over 4 million people. And we found that if you look at the graph, that as you got a more recent birth cohort, basically the gender gap narrowed such that if you've got any alcohol use, problematic use of alcohol harms, the ratio of male use to female use really decreased down to about 1. Now, basically the cannabis paper, although we used a different sample and slightly different outcomes, we found much the same result, that there was a decrease in the male to female ratio of 2 in those born in 1941 to 1.3 in those born in 1995, suggesting that women and men's use of alcohol and cannabis has become more similar over time. And these findings, my slide will not advance. Let me just see if yes. These findings have seemed to resonate really strongly with the public. There was a lot of media, particularly over the alcohol study. It was mentioned in English Parliament. And I think that's because they've reflected what many people have observed in their own research and anecdotally in schools, treatment settings, and within their own communities. So that's something to keep in mind. It was one of the questions we're interested in looking at in this study. Just in terms of, there's not a lot of literature on age period cohort analysis. Not many people have done these sorts of analysis. But when we have looked at the studies that have been done in the United States, there's been a general increase in cannabis use in the United States over the last several years. There's been 5 studies in the U.S.A. and 1 in Germany. 4 in America, 1 in Germany over the years 1982 to 2015. Now, the 4 US studies have all been on the same cohort, and what they've done is each study has looked at them for an increasingly longer and longer period of time. And essentially, they found that the trends driving the increase in use in the USA were related purely to historical trends. So something has been happening across the American society rather than in an age or cohort sense that is driving increase in use. The German study wasn't really particularly relevant because they had found primarily that it was age that was driving studies, but it was driven by a lot of people trying cannabis and then a drop in that, a drop off, so they won't maintain those trends. They found that there was little impact of the cannabis policy per se and queried whether it was actually changes in attitudes that were driving changes in use rather than policy per se. In terms of age period cohort analyses on legalisation attitudes, there have been 2 big studies in the United States that have specifically looked at this. And the first one, very similar time periods, the first one from the 70s to 2014 found a dramatic period effect here as well of increasing support for cannabis legalisation from the late 1990s. So again, a general historical effect across society, coupled with a smaller cohort effect. So there was also an effect of people born in the baby boomer cohort being more supportive of supporting legalisation for cannabis. In the second study, there was a similar period effect from the 1980s. So we're getting a lot of evidence that use and legalisation attitudes in the United States is driven very much by a general historical change. In the second study, perceived safety and attitudes to legalisation were moved in tandem. You can see in this graph here that as views on marijuana safety changed, so did views on whether or not cannabis legality should be changed from 1976 up to 2015. Okay, so which brings us to the study that we're doing. So Australia is an interesting case study because Australia's been at the forefront of drug policy and harm minimisation, etc. For decades now internationally. But in terms of cannabis use, we've really been in a stasis in terms of cannabis and potential policy change in medical cannabis. And this is in the context of substantial policy change internationally. So it's an interesting case study because we can look at changes in attitudes and use in a period where nothing has really changed in Australia. So the aim of what we're doing, these preliminary results, is to look at and compare trends from 2001 National Household Survey to 2013. Now the 2016 data will be added, but they've just come out. So we're looking at recent use, so last year use, and attitudes toward legalisation and criminalisation. Now the National Drug Strategy Household Survey, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is an ongoing series of population surveys of those aged 14 plus. It's conducted every 3 years, and they ask about all the major drug classes, policy, attitudes, treatment, your life circumstances, etc. Some of the questions change over time, which makes these sort of analyses difficult. We were originally going to do this this research on alcohol attitudes, but because the questions, not on alcohol attitudes, on binge drinking, but the data were just, there was so much missing data and such incomparable data across time, we just couldn't do it because the cannabis data has remained fairly consistent. We were also interested, obviously, in seeing if we could look at what differences there might be in cannabis use and whether there was any sort of at least initial descriptive evidence of a decrease or a maintenance or increase in a gender gap. So when you combine the ages 14 to 79 across these periods, 2001 to 13, we get about 120,000 people or so, about half of whom were female. We categorise them into different age and birth cohort ranges, consistent with the way these other studies have been done. So we've got 5 waves of data, and currently the analyses are descriptive, and we need to run further modelling to confirm these in a quantitative method. At the moment, they will be presented by gender, but we're also going to look at them by people's tobacco smoking status and education, because these 2 factors are well known to have an effect or be related at least to cannabis use. So when the 2016 National Household Survey data are released at the end of the year, we aim to incorporate these into our analyses. So remember, because we're presenting results by gender, we can't directly compare, but you can at least have a look at how they may or may not differ. So the three main questions we're looking at here, the three main outcomes are based on these questions. Have you used cannabis or marijuana in the last 12 months? So it's yes or no. And then 2 on attitudes. Do you think the possession of small quantities of marijuana or cannabis for personal use should be a criminal offence? That is, should offenders get a criminal record? And we have yes, no, and don't know. And then the last question is, to what extent would you support or oppose the personal use of marijuana cannabis being made legal? And there was a Likert scale, which ranged from strongly agree to strongly disagree. So we counted strongly agree and agree as evidence of support for the legalisation of personal use of cannabis. So I'm just going to go through the results with you now. I hope I'm not rushing through this too much, but I suppose it leaves time for discussion. Okay, this is just a first eyeball. This is not part of the age period cohort analysis, but just a little graph of basically males down the bottom, females at the top by age. And we're looking at whether they've used cannabis in the last year or not. So for each graph, we have the results from the 2001 down to the 2013 survey, with red being 2001 and the purple down the bottom being 2013. And what there is evidence of is a decrease in use in more recent surveys, particularly in the younger group. So you can see at the beginning in the younger group, there's much greater separation in use, with the more recent survey showing lower use amongst those age groups, that by the older age groups just isn't there. So let's see what happens when we actually do an age period cohort analysis. Now, it looks a bit messy, but I'll explain it to you. So on the left, we have a graph showing the results for males, and on the right, we have a graph showing the results for females. So we have 3 pieces of information on that graph. Down the bottom, there's a legend that says there's age. So the left-hand graph is what happens from 14 to 79 in recent use for males and females as they age. And that's basically what proportion have used.
Right, let's go back. Everybody, welcome. We'll start with a go show. Bonnie, how you going, mate? Good. That's good.
Good form, mate. Good form.
Nice.
Cannabis. In the middle and on the right, we have a different scale. In the middle, it's what birth cohort they were born in. So from 1917 or so up to 1998 or so. I can't remember.
That's all that good for. What's going on?
Yeah. G'day, man. Good to see you. FAIRGROW Friday. I'm excited. How you doing, lad? What's doing?
Yeah, chilling, bro. No, nothing. Just fucking nothing really planned. Just found this, started playing it. Don't really have to keep playing it.
No worries. I come Gate Crash. Yeah, you know, eventually I'll come Gate Crash. If I say, you know, that's what I do.
Look at my phone.
I love a dab anyway. Listen, John, how's everyone doing? What was this on about the age and demographic of cannabis usage?
And so the trends and use and attitudes towards legislation. I'll turn it off. So if anybody wants to watch that, I don't know. I think it's just in general. They're talking about from 2001 to 2016.
I noticed in the 60s,
on the Matilda
50s,
Centre.
I noticed in the mid-50s it had there that the female cannabis use was higher than it is now.
Oh, yep.
Which is interesting, from 1950 till now. And you see the difference. There was more female cannabis users by the look of it.
Yep. How much? I missed that.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Maybe I was wrong, but that's what it looked like.
No, you're probably right. How much was the bar different? Like 30% less, or?
Well, the bar was up the top in the 60s. Well, I mean the 50s, the mid 50s, and it went down to the 2000s, obviously because of criminalisation and all of that. All right. Dabs up, dabs on, dabby. I haven't even looked at chat. What's doing chat? It was my son's birthday, so I had to. I was singing happy birthday and did the cake and all that.
Oh, true that.
Yes.
That's cool. Well, we've got another visitor. Fucking AA, another AA. It's the one that's in Australia though this time. Check it out. What's up, brother? How you going?
Is that auditing? Auditing Australia.
Fucking check it out. Here we go. Fix that up. How you going, guys?
Good, good, bro. Good to see you.
Been
I
a
was
while.
having a bit of a mate. I haven't really. I haven't gone
didn't
on
know you
that in a while.
I don't know what's coming down, but I was with my GP the other day. I thought let you guys know there's some new changes coming to the TGA on the 7th of November, apparently, in regards to cannabis.
Yeah. Didn't give you any. Yeah.
She
couldn't tell you anything more.
No, she didn't give me any more. No dirty nitbits, but she goes, "There's something going down."
Maybe we
7th of
can get
November next week.
personal license.
Mm.
Maybe we can get a personal license to grow a medication if we are patients.
I don't know about that. I think they might be cracking down on a few of the dispensaries for fucking selling too much shit at once.
Oh yeah.
Fair.
Mm.
Fair.
Mm.
Taking
That's
advantage of the system.
She was mentioning that in a sort of a subtle way, blah, blah, blah. She was saying, people were smoking 9 grams a day on medicinal and things like that, and blah, blah. I said, well, they're not fucking smoking it for fucking pain relief. They're smoking 9 grams a day. I can tell you that right now. Sorry.
It's a lot of weed, though.
I'm always under the belief, and I know what the chap believes. I think once you're stoned, you're stoned. You can't get any stoned up.
Yeah, you can go to sleep, and that does destroy it. What's the use?
You know what I mean? Like, you're stoned. There's no fucking level of being higher stoned or lower stoned. You know what I mean? You're stoned.
Yeah.
Right?
And then there's sleep.
I've smoked for a long fucking time.
Yeah. You don't enjoy it if you fall asleep, though. There's no real enjoyment. If you want to be stoned, you can't really be stoned asleep. You've got to be awake. But I'm still getting, for example, right now, I've only just started doing the dabs like as regular as I am now, and I'm getting a whole different stoneness. Like I'm experiencing now with different types of cannabis from all over the world, be it medical, be it whatever extractions. There's whole different levels of cannabis experiences now that, in Australia, we're so far behind. Where we were ahead, now we're so far behind. Like we're missing out, and you're experiencing in that there's a certain highness you get, and I agree there is. Here in Australia, it's just because there's not enough variety, there's not enough experience like with the dabs and the squish and the oils and all this beautiful exotic stuff that the world's just moving on with, and we're still here just pottering away. So that's why when there's more available experiences for us, I think you'll find that there's so much more to cannabis than that feeling, that of just being stoned, But cannabis is amazing. And by the way, FAIRGROW Australia and AA, I didn't know that you knew each other because I follow you AA on your channel. You're like sort of like a freedom fighter, sort of, or not a freedom fighter, but I see it as like.
I have an issue with authority not being transparent, and I mean, I reckon everybody, as soon as they see authority, should pull out a camera and record just to make sure that they do the right thing, and it changes their attitude. You know what I mean? They're either going to do everything right by the book, or they're going to fucking lose the plot. And I'd rather them lose the plot straight away than listen to their bullshit, because a camera will make them lose the plot.
Good point. And that's highlighting the evidence that you're talking about, that they're taking their position for granted. They're not doing their job properly.
That's exactly it. You know what I mean? The egos take over the uniform. I'm going to show you something I just picked up the other day, guys. I don't know if you've had it before.
Nice, bro. What's that one? Blue cheese from BioCare. Okay. Happy with it? I've tried a blue cheese from Grandiosa.
Really happy with it, to be honest.
Ooh, looks good. Nice light green.
Yeah. And
It's a nighttime kind of indica dominant.
Yeah, the indica, 22% indica. I've got another one coming mid-November as well. It's Grandiosa.
Yeah, I've
Fever
tried that
is
one.
called. Yeah, Jelly Bean.
Oh, the jelly bean. Yeah, that's beautiful. Really sweet. I tried the blue cheese from Grandiosa and the jelly bean.
Okay, but the blue cheese from Grandiosa wasn't in stock, and that's what I've been finding, and that's what my doctors also said to me is, he doesn't mind me trying all these things. I've got about 6 or 7 different scripts at the moment, but 4 or 5 of them I can't get stock.
Yeah, right. Do you have the substitutable option, or do you have to go for what's written on the script?
Like I'm topped at the S8, so I'm at the top of the classifications.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my TGA paperwork, so that's one paperwork that sticks with that with me the whole time. You know what I mean? So every time I just have to ring up the doctor and say, "Look, this isn't in stock. Can I get another script for this?" She'll look it up, and then she'll just send out the e-script, or I'll go in there and pick up the script.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Not better than the dispensary. Will just tell you to go in there, and they'll snip you for the consultation, they'll snip you for the script, and then they'll snip you for the weed, and then they'll snip you for your Medicare card swipe as well.
And then sometimes you've got to wait. So I was going to say, what's your take on your experience on medical so far, as opposed to, what were you doing prior? How, in general?
Prior, so I don't take opioids at all.
No, I'm saying your experience of the,
of my experience
being on medicine, compared to how it was prior to being on, accessing how you're doing it now.
Compared to buying it off the black market, is that what you're saying? Buying it off a street dealer?
Yeah.
Look,
pretty much. Yeah,
it's pretty much the fucking same price, to be honest. When you think about it,
yeah.
If you're looking at a 15 grams per gram in your medicinal, and you're buying a stick from a dealer for 20 or 15, it's the same. The quality, different course. I've had some really good quality from street dealers and things like that, but majority no. So for the quality and what you're paying for what you get, I've had bad experiences buying MC as well. I went and spent $200 on some Rocky one day, and it fucking was shit, man.
True.
You know, man, and I rang up and I complained, and you know what they turned around and said to me? It's seasonal. We can't control the sun. I've still got the email there somewhere.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow. They knew the product was short of their mark. They shouldn't put it out.
I replied with the email, if you can't control the sun, then you should be able to control the price of your weed.
Yeah. Factual, that's right.
Didn't get nowhere with that.
Wow. So you found that the Rocky was just probably not as pristine as it should have been.
No, and for the price, you know what I mean? There's another one called Royale by...
I haven't tried that one.
I've got it. It's 31%. I don't know when they say it's 31% if it is. But for $150 compared to $220.
All right.
You know what I mean?
And it sounds like outdoor was more expensive. The other stuff they were relying on the sun for was more expensive.
Yes. Yeah, you know what I mean? But as I said, then you can go to your street dealer, of course, and go and buy your fucking your 28 or your bag for $200, $250, depending on your stuff. You know what I mean?
Selling that on the street, they call it bush.
Oh, fucking PGR.
Yeah. I haven't gone that far to say it yet, but
the words PGR.
I'm not on it. Yeah. Or fucking. I haven't. I've consumed a lot of the medical, but I'm not on the medical. But my experience is that there are PGRs or something used, but it's clean. It's not like you're not getting a headache. You're not coughing up all of that black phlegmy shit. It is really good, clean cannabis, and you're smoking, which is, let's face it, it's probably the cleanest or the best quality cannabis.
Look at chickens. Don't you reckon chickens are sprayed? Like, you know what I mean? They're chickens fucking, they get big for some reason, man. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. The food they're giving and things like that, are there hormones and shit like that in the chickens?
They're born with, of course, they're in the egg. There's hormones in the egg that we eat.
All right, but what I'm trying to say is, are artificials, are farmers and that, like their food or whatever, is the grain and that, has it been treated as things like that? Because you don't know, right? But the same thing with PGR, you don't know what's been put into it until you consume it.
It's true. Yeah, there are. Yes, you're right. There are limits, so they are allowed to actually use PGRs in certain things like vegetable growers, so certain crops.
Yes,
but not cannabis. Cannabis, it becomes poison, like certain growth, particularly depending on how we're consuming it as well, you know.
Yep.
And we're combusting it. That's what actually makes the PGRs dangerous, or the chemicals in some of those PGRs, because PGRs are fine if they're natural PGRs. They're not.
Well, yeah, by the combustion, you're turning these PGRs into carcinogenics and things like that. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So there's actually a feed for your plants you can get that the TGA approves. So you have actually also, so you can get those medically approved, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
You know.
I actually think someone sent me some of that stuff. Fact sheet on PGRs that are actually approved. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Anyways, it's good to know that you consume cannabis. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna say, like I come in Australia, and this might be like a weird fucking way of describing things. A lot of Asians, when they first come to Australia, were very flat-chested. And I wonder the reason why, you know what I mean? Because they're over and they're eating their fish and they're eating their rice and all that, you know what I mean? They come to Australia, they get westernized, they eat westernized foods and things like next minute, these Asians are starting to get, you know what I mean, tits and things and asses and that, which they never had. Why? Because it has to be something in our food. I can't see any other reason for it to be.
Well, sometimes, yes, but it depends. See, if you're looking at North Asians, they're generally skinny. But it depends whether some Asians that are from the coast, the coastal line, they eat a lot of fish.
Yep.
Or islander Asians. So and so they're naturally a lot bigger. So it's easy to. But maybe it is our food. Our food's poison. Wait, I'm going to drop your link if it's all right with Fair. Is there Fair?
Yeah, bro. You can do it.
I'll be going live stream tomorrow. There's another rally on, I'd say. So yeah, cool.
Can I drop his channel link on your stream?
Yeah, bro. You can do it if you want. Yeah.
There's that link, but I've got a backup channel that I've been using, FAIRGROW and AussieGrow. So I'll find it, please. Yeah, there'll be a rally tomorrow going on in Melbourne, just a freedom rally. Been going on every weekend for the last, I don't know, 16 months.
Just follow Kozak. You'll get plenty of good content.
Yeah, Kozak.
I wasn't going to ask you about him, but I'm going to.
Good on him for doing what he's doing. As I said, anybody who puts up their camera and records police or whatever, hats off from me.
Yeah.
Is this event at Flinders Street tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll be Flinders Street. Yeah, it'll be Parliament House, and then it'll be Flinders Street.
Okay, cool. Get out there if you're in Melbourne. Check it out. How many people are on average getting like arrested at these events that you've seen, or there's been some?
Every now and then they'll probably grab one. You know what I mean? For something really, really fucking petty. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't have fucking touched them. You know what I mean? It's just.
And they'll grab one of the people that are there all the time. Or
a few people get targeted. Like I've been targeted a couple times.
Crazy,
I know a few people have been targeted. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like how's this way? You know what I mean? There'd be a list of people who the coppers want to fuck with. All right, at these rallies. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
That's right. Sometimes they fuck with anyone. Like that's why I'm worried about meet and greets and things like that. Because if I tell anyone on my channel where I'm going to be, the coppers know too.
Yep.
They know because they know who's who, what's going down. You know, and if they see you're going to go somewhere, they know you're going to be there. They're going to come and see you. If they want to catch up with you, then they know you're going to be there. So I've got to be careful about where I am at each time because the cops will rock up. Not that they're after me. I just don't, like you said, I just don't want to talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them. I don't want to question them. I don't want to answer questions. I don't want to be asked questions. I don't want to know. Have I got a warrant? I don't want to know. I haven't checked.
Just got to remember what you want and what you get, two different things from the police.
Probably shut down in 5 minutes or so. It'll be a 90-minute stream. Appreciate everybody come through.
I'll pack a billy for this one. My last billy of the evening. I'll be smoking dabs.
I'll put that link to my backup in the private chat.
Oh man, no, you can post it. Oh, okay. Yeah. If you want to put your channel up, put it in the main chat.
I don't think it was
I'll put it in the main chat there.
I've got a wrench to do that, bro. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. I'll go on.
No, don't worry about giving me a wrench and we'll reply one. What are you on at the moment, Aussie Grow? You on Dabzo or something?
Well, my weed's low, and yeah, I've got a good lot of dabs here, so I'm smoking those, and they're getting me by. Like such a little amount is getting me by.
Might hang around.
So stoned though.
Hang around for a while.
Hey, Bert. Hey, Hook. How you ordered in Australia?
Hey, PTP.
Not bad, mate. You do some good vids, man. I've seen some of your stuff.
You should smell this blue cheese, man. Ooh.
Stanky.
Oh,
Stanky.
Yeah, it smelled. It's nothing like I've smelled before, man. No. I had a stick of blue cheese probably about 2 years ago, and it didn't smell like this, but it was really good weed. So when I seen it was on the Canaview list, I don't know if you guys know, you can go into Canaview, and you can find every flower that is available in Australia.
Yeah. On the Canada reviews, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of people check that out. Check it out now, actually.
I thought I'd have the bong where I cough my gut out off camera and then come on. So I should be all warmed up now. Comment. HFM.
These dabs are killing my throat, getting me so wasted and stoned. I could just have one and go to sleep if I wanted to. But I've been taking it easy.
Where'd you make it from?
It was made from BHO, but I got a mate. I took it around his house and he put it through some his purger, and it's beautiful. Like it is absolutely beautiful. Like it's so delicious, so like fruity. But I might actually do more. I've got enough to do more, but like I've got the other stuff I made, and I haven't touched it. I haven't even touched this shit. It tastes like shit. I wouldn't even touch it without it being purged. Now, but I was worried that I'd still taste gas.
Butane. If the butane was clean, the butane can't stay in the dab. It's a volatile gas that once it reaches temperature, it's gone. Yeah, you'd be pretty safe, bro.
No, I know it's a lot tastier and cleaner than the shit that I've been smoking, but it's enough to make me want to do more because I've got another, and that's only from the leaf. This is just leaf that I pulled out. So from there, I'll get 5 grams of oil.
Hey,
it's as good as.
Hey, Mongrel.
Have you seen a billy like that before? a crack pipe.
Yeah, bro. Oh, yeah. I seen that. Remember? I've seen that. You showed that before. It's a
Big
good one.
round.
Just scooted onto the top of the bottle. I just bought up the that flower you're talking about, the Biochem blue cheese.
Okay, yeah, cool.
It's a bit of a
Rundown
couple
on
of
it.
reviews, 5-star there. 5 stars. Oop, three out of 5 from this person. Not cheese.
Cuts up. It cuts up. There's hardly any stem. There's no leaf at all. There's no sugar leaves. Exactly on 10 grams it was. You know what I mean? It chops up. It doesn't clump up. I've got nothing to complain about it, to be honest. Really got nothing to complain about the Biochem blue cheese.
145 too.
Yeah,
I reckon
so.
the jelly bean is really sweet too, but that's unfortunately from the place that it did come from. They said they're not going through those people again. That's the South African strain. I think someone was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the Grandiosa one that I'll be getting, is the jelly bean one. So I'm looking forward to see what that is.
Nice. Anyway.
And that's something I noticed. It didn't have the the booster. The boost, what's it called? It's in them. The absorbent moisture filters, whatever.
Humidifier,
yeah. Biopad, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Vita and boost.
I haven't checked this out in a long time, actually. There's quite a few new flowers on there that I haven't seen, supposedly. 183 now. Holy moly.
And Ashes, I don't know too much about the pineapple and the other stuff, but the grapes apparently is okay to eat. Use the PGR at the start, and then they grow up for ages after that without it.
Oh, check these ones out. $0. Recommend a retail price. They're free, mate. From Super.
Nothing's free, bro. You know that.
Soul Blueberry. Ooh, 1 star. 2.5. These people weren't too happy with this one.
I hear Relief have got a new strain out too, but I can't access it. I've been permanently banned from Relief stores. They don't like their store being filmed and they fucking rip people off.
Let's see. Is that the same? Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
That's the Gilda job. Don't worry, I haven't finished with them, boys. No worry. It's summer's coming, so there'll be a lot of time down in St Kilda, so the video camera might come out. I might just go at the front and tell everybody who's leaving the store, check your tub before you go.
Bring your own scales.
Bring your own scales. Actually, I might go with my own scales in my hand with my video camera. Go, guys, do you want to weigh your stuff before you leave? Because you better be sure. We'll see how that goes down really well on the public footpath at the front of their shop.
True. In my experience, I went to the dispensaries, come home, weighed them up, and they're all like 9.8 or something. So when getting the other one, sometimes they're 10.3 or whatever. But then I asked him, I said, hey, how come it's slightly under? And he's like, oh, well, the law said we can go 10% either way. And it's fine.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They choose to go 10% either way, and they choose to go the way where they give you less.
Yeah, he's like, we try to make it as close to 10 as possible without breaking any flowers. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. At least give me 10.6 then. That's joking.
You can understand, you know what I mean? Like you put flour in, some moisture is gonna go, you know what I mean? Like a little bit, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter. Unless it's completely dry. You're still gonna lose something, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You leave a bud on a bench. I can't do it because I'll smoke it. But if you leave it on a bench for a month, I guarantee it's not the same size as when you left it there the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be the same
We don't know how long these batches are sitting in these containers for before you go and purchase them from the store. You know what I mean? We don't get to know which batch numbers. You know what I mean? So you might be going into a dispensary saying, "Yep, I want this." They go and get stock, which most people will do, will sell their old stock first. You have to.
Yeah.
You might get stock that's been sitting there for 6 months. Yeah, it's got a shelf life for a year. You know what I mean? But 6 months of it's already gone. It's going to change. It's a flower. It's going to change. It's not like you pick a fucking iron and it says the shelf life is the same fucking 10 years later.
No.
Yeah.
So batch numbers is a big thing. Batch numbers is a big thing, but we don't know which batches are which. So they're all got dates.
That's what I think. One of the nurse mentioned something like that. In fact, just going to the point of how they're sitting around. She said when they're coming into customs and they're at the ports, sometimes they're sitting there in massive containers, like all different shipments for everybody.
Yeah, they could get held up for 2 months, man. I got a car imported from America. This is how fucking stupid it is at customs. I got a car imported from America. It went through the Panama Canal. They reckon the boat come in contact with some giant African snail. And when it got to Melbourne, the whole boat had to be fucking decontaminated before anything come off. And it took like another 2-3 weeks on top. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many rules and you get tied up, but
fuck yeah, we could just grow all these strains ourselves. They should be able to sell us seeds of all of these strains so that we can do them ourselves. We don't have to worry about it.
Well, look at Canberra at the moment. Look what Canberra's just done. They just passed all their fucking hard drug laws. Like, you can be in possession of 1.5 grams of methamphetamine and get a diversion order. I reckon you should be fucking locked the fuck up, man. Sorry.
It's interesting though. Yeah, they decriminalise small amounts of all narcotics.
I don't really know. I really
They
don't
did
know.
that shit to these fuckers at the ACT, and we still can't smoke fucking weed.
Yeah.
Look at Aussie Auto's comment. There's
Everybody I've heard is on meth, right? They're fucking erratic, and eventually they'll fucking snap. Right?
These fucking politicians, mate. Their cars are probably full of coke and fucking God knows what else. Weed, of course.
Now, what they get, guys, is legally prescribed medication by their doctors who are specialists in drugs and experts, and they have their own doctors who prescribe them legal drugs to get off their nut legally. Heroin-based or opiate-based drugs. They do it all legally. You know, all of these presidents, how do you think they stay up and do all of these meetings and sleep on 2 hours? They're all fucking goofed up. They keep them on you know, to keep them on their alert, to work in, their leaders. And they've all got access to doctors who will, look at Michael Jackson.
Oh,
That's how, with doctors like that. The same sort of doctors, all with these, they're all goofed up on their own legal drugs. They don't need to go to a drug dealer. They just go to their doctor. What do you want? You want to stay up? The leader of the country says, yeah, I want to stay up all night. I've got a business meeting. No worries. Here's some illegal amphetamines.
Well, they fucking need to give Biden some speed, man, because that cunt's slow as fuck.
On that note, look at it this way. What if this?
Keeping Biden even talking.
Okay, I don't like Biden at all. I think he's an idiot. But I just had a thought. I was having a bath today. I sat back and I thought, what if he's just exposing the truth that he's a puppet? So rather than him,
he's so
making it obvious.
He's doing it. Yes, making it so obvious that there's a puppet hand up his ass. All right, no, maybe he's thinking outside the box, thinking, okay, I'm going to act like an idiot. If they're going to make me, they said, oh, do this, do that. I'm the leader, and he's just going to go, well, if you're telling me to do that, I'm just going to walk around like a babbling idiot as a leader of the country because I'm not really the leader. He's not. We all know that he's not the leader.
The big man.
Yeah.
That's like when you said you didn't mind Biden. I'm like, yes, but it's not his policies and things that are going on.
I hate his guts.
People who are above him.
He's a dirty,
people who are above him telling him that this is how it's going to be.
Oh, little Hillary Clinton.
I
I think she's got more pull than every cunt in America at the moment. She has.
Kamala Harris will be the next leader. Kamala Harris will be the next leader of the US. If she's not the leader by the midterms, if she's not the leader by the end. They won't let Trump back in. Even
I
if
reckon
he
he'll get
wins.
back in.
If the FBI don't find anything, he's got a good chance. Because the FBI doing that will even increase his popularity more.
Well, see, they're after Biden at the moment, and I reckon they're after Biden's son, to show the fact that, we're not being just biased and we're going after Republicans, we're going for both. You know what I mean? But I think their end goal is to get Trump real hard. He's facing all these charges at the moment, Biden, his son. What's his name?
We can't, Bulldog, we can't actually get alcohol in the supermarket. We've got to go into a specialist.
Hunter is being hunted at the moment, apparently.
Hunter Biden, that's it, yeah.
How often have you been doing your shows, FAIRGROW? Like, I just happened to pop this one tonight, but normally I'm busy on a Friday night. But you do them every Friday, do you? Or
Nah, no, not really lately. The past kind of 2-3 months, not as often. But I'll probably hopefully get back to do something like 2 times a week.
Okay, cool.
Just drop a show.
Yeah.
Nothing really planned or scheduled like at the moment. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Trump
Make
is
sure
the
you
man.
smash that thumbs up, guys and girls. Don't forget. Pack it.
Yeah,
Pack
if
that
we get
thumbs
to
up.
we got 20 people here. If we get to 20 thumbs up, Hook's doing a headstand ball.
Shut up.
Only a couple
Let
more
me just check.
dollars.
30. What about 30? Well, how many likes is there? Let me check.
Nah, there's not enough people in here to get to 30.
We'll see. See about that. I reckon you lost 2. Yeah. Nah, I can't do it anyway. My back's screwed. But maybe. I'm gonna have one dab anyway and cruise. So
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Fucking, what happened to your hammock?
Oh no, that was too dangerous. The hammock was too dangerous.
That's too dangerous.
No. Yeah, no, that was like could have been death right there. It's crazy. I can't even believe I did that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good, bro. I'm about to jump off, that's all. The dogs just brought the lead to me.
Nice. Time for the midnight walk.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot, man. Take it easy.
No
You too,
dramas.
brother.
Yeah, if he's up for it tomorrow,
Good
about
luck tomorrow.
11:30, 12 o'clock, I'll be live, I'd say.
No problem.
Yep.
And that'll be on that backup channel, The Real Ordinary Victoria, but yeah. Have fun. Take care, guys.
Okay, cool.
That'll
Nice. I'll copy that. Put that in the thing. It should be the channel. Yeah, that's a good stream. Did around for a walk. Oh, what's this? Big Pharma, politics and news agents. Biggest threat to humanity rant on the fucking AGS about 5 hours ago. I haven't seen that yet. What's that about?
It's just a rant. Nothing serious.
That's a pretty
But it's
serious
true.
topic.
But it's true. The biggest threat to humanity is the leaders, big pharma, media.
Governments, corporations, anyone with power who's fucking pushing things in the direction they want. When we live in a system that says everyone votes, you should be paying to get the shit that you want. You know, you're a minority. If we all want something, we fucking billions of people want it. We should get it, not fucking two cunts that are rich.
Fair point, fair point. All right. What's it been? 100 minutes, 105 minutes. Streaming on the FAIRGROW on a Friday with the flowers and all. So I might bounce it down and start turning the volume down and shut things down. So much appreciation to everybody coming through. Let me just get this. And what's tomorrow? I'm sure there'll be some other stream coming soon for the community, so check it out. Much peace. Stay sharp, stay fresh. Thank you very much for coming through. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me up there. Later, fam.
Always, mate. Easy. Just put this music thing on.